Welcome all to another class of Hunger Games history. Today, we will be talking about the 7th annual Hunger Games, a year in which the Capitol made a great mistake by almost announcing the wrong victor. This was one of the factors contributing to a noticeable decrease in the audience's interest towards the games. Already from the trip to the Capitol, it was clear to other tributes that the District 2 pair knew each other. The girl, Vibia, was from a privileged family in the district whose parents had enough money to pay Aaron, victor of the 4th annual Hunger Games, to teach and prepare Vibia for the games, in case she would be unfortunate enough to have her name called in the reaping. Azazel, the boy, did not have access to the same training, but Vibia wasted no time in teaching him all the knowledge she got from Aaron. Like the District 2 tributes the year before, Vibia and Azazel spent their time at the animal enclosure studying their opponents, whispering while pointing to others, not minding if they were being too obvious, until one of the other tributes had enough. Thovi, from District 6, claimed that he heard from last year's Victor Oliver that the tributes from District 2 were usually better off and tended to join forces, not giving any chance to others. Azazel, who had a very short temper, started making fun of Thovi, saying that all he had to do was to join forces with his district partner as well, as it wasn't against the rules. Thovi, frustrated, started threatening both of them, spending the rest of the night recruiting people to bring down the District 2 tributes. By the end of it, he had Victor from District 1 and Brock from District 5 on his side. As the signal was given for the games to start, Vibia and Azazel were the first to arrive at the weapon pile. Several other tributes also did the same, but the preparation of the District 2 tributes paid off. With incredible synchronization, as if they had been training together for years, Azazel and Vibia covered one side of the weapon pile each, taking others down one by one. They had a well-formed plan to give priority to tributes of districts whose industry could make it possible for them to learn how to handle a weapon, therefore focusing first the tributes from District 4, 7, 9, 10, and 11. With this strategy, the pair managed to injure the District 1 female and eliminate both tributes from Districts 4 and 7, as well as the male tribute from District 10. Osric, from District 11, managed to push Azazel out of the way to grab a scythe for himself and a machete that he brought back to his district partner Freesia, who was waiting for him as far away from the action as possible. Yule, from District 9, was another of the few that managed to evade the duo and grab a weapon, as did Missy from District 10. But when Yule got distracted fighting the boy from District 8, his district partner, on the other hand, was eliminated by Vibia from District 2. Yule ran towards the stands to stay away from all the fighting, but ends up stumbling upon Wilco from District 12. Wilco attempted to disarm Yule to get his weapon, but Yule was stronger, defeating him. Missy, from District 10, did not have the same luck. She instead encountered Thovi from 6, who, together with the other two boys he had recruited, Victor from 1 and Brock from 5, cornered her and fought her for a weapon, managing to take her machete for themselves. It was Thovi who then, with Missy's own weapon, finished her off. The trio observed the District 2 couple from a distance, who were still around the weapon pile. The three tributes analyzed what would be the best strategy to ambush Azazel and Vibia, approaching the pile in slow steps, each from a different direction. Thovi began shouting at the couple, hoping to drive their attention to him. Azazel fell for the provocation, eager to fight the boy ever since last night. Now with one less person guarding the weapons, Brock attempted to quickly grab something. Vibia spotted the boy in time to throw one of her knives at him, but missed, and so Brock was able to grab an axe from the pile. Seeing Brock getting away, Vibia shouted at Azazel to go after him. The boy dropped his fight with Thovi to go for Brock, managing to eliminate him before he even raised his axe. What he did not realize, however, was how Thovi had followed him, being now just mere inches away from the boy. With no hesitation, Thovi struck his machete into Azazel's abdomen, making him roar in pain. Azazel then used all the strength left in his body to raise his sword once more, managing to take down Thovi. With Vibia's eyes on what just unfolded, Victor was able to grab a club, with the goal to go after Azazel before he could kill Thovi. However, he arrived at the scene too late. Not wanting to risk missing once again and get her district partner killed, Vibia instead put to practice something she learned from Aaron. She ran and jumped on her target, carving her knife deep into Victor's stomach, using her own body as extra weight for the attack. The two rolled on the floor as they struggled, until Victor, from one, was finally defeated. Breathless, from how the knife handle and clutched hands were pressing against her chest, Vibia lied on the ground, attempting to recover. Hearing footsteps in the distance, she slightly lifted her face just enough to see Osric and Freesia, from District 11, approaching Azazel, who was still howling in pain with the machete stuck in him. Using his scythe, Osric took mercy on the boy and put an end to his suffering. Holding her own machete with both hands, Freesia stood beside Osric's figure, terrified of everything. Likewise, Vibia now feared that the two would come after her next, and seeing no other way out, she decided to play dead. Osric walked around, gently poking the bodies of the other tributes, before leaving towards the stands. Seeing that her plan worked, Vibia decided to continue using this strategy for as long as possible, as by then, less than half the tributes remained alive. But with her and Azazel now out, no one is actively looking to fight anymore, and those who remain stayed in their corners. The next to eventually fall was Diamond, the girl from District 1, who could not withstand the injuries caused by Azazel's sword when she tried to grab a weapon in the beginning of the games. Later, it was a little girl from District 6, who hadn't been in good condition ever since the ripping, and ended up not resisting a sudden asthma attack. One more hour passed with no action at all, until Osric, from District 11, started showing some restlessness. Despite his reluctance to fight, he feared the Peacekeeper's actions if the games became too stale, bringing his district partner Freesia with him to look for those still alive. His first victim was Aubrey, the girl from District 3. They then went after the District 5 girl, but this time, Osric asked Freesia to fight her instead. He justified it by telling her that they don't know what could happen in the games, and that maybe he wouldn't always be around to help her, so she had to learn to look after herself. Deep down, he feared how likely it was that the two would have to fight each other in the end, knowing that in such a situation, he would have to put himself first. After Freesia was finally able to kill the girl, the pair walked towards the other side of the arena, where the boy from 3 was trying to be inconspicuous in a corner. Even with the weapons now apparently unguarded, no other tribute wanted to approach all the bodies that had piled up around them, and the tributes who were left barely put on a fight, which made things even more morally difficult for Osric. Vesepia, the girl from District 12, who had been up in the stands since the beginning of the games, got up immediately upon seeing the tributes from 11 climbing up. Osric picked up the pace, seeing the girl flee, which in turn startled her. Due to her panicking, Vesepia ended up tripping, falling violently down the stands and dying on impact. Seeing the number of tributes getting lower and lower, Dwilly, from District 8, finally gathered the courage to approach the weapon pile. She got down and snatched the dagger, but upon seeing all the bodies and their brutal injuries, the girl froze. This gave enough time for Osric and Freesia to catch up with her, but once Dwilly realized she was getting cornered, she refused to die by the hands of another tribute, instead taking her own life with the weapon she just grabbed. Now with tributes thinking only 3 were left alive, Osric and Freesia, from 11, went to look for Yule, from 9. Despite Osric telling her earlier that they should part ways, Freesia refused to leave his side, too scared to be left alone. The two scanned the arena to locate Yule, who started running laps around the bleachers to attempt to exhaust the two before the inevitable fight. Once Yule saw that his opponents were slowing down, he decided to save the rest of his energy and fight once and for all. As Osric and Yule fought, Freesia could see that even tired, her district partner clearly had the advantage. She finally snapped out of her state, knowing she would have to flee before he could turn to her. She knew she had no chance against Osric, but wanted to spare him the pain of having to kill someone from his district as well. The games had dragged on for long, They had chased Yule for a good while, and without any food or water, she knew that time would eventually get to her, so Osric wouldn't have to. However, Osric didn't quite see it the same way. He had managed to defeat Yule, and Freesia was nowhere to be seen. The boy was very tired himself, and now he had to chase after his district partner too, making what was already difficult even worse. He called out her name, spotting her on the opposite side of the arena, standing as high up the bleachers as possible. Startled, the girl started running as she heard the way Osric said her name, realizing that he wouldn't let her refuse to fight for her life. Osric used the last of his strength to chase after Freesia, only managing to catch up to the faster girl once she collapsed from exhaustion. Seeing how she still tried to run away from him made his heart ache even more, as it showed just how scared of dying she was. Now, Osric had to do what it takes in order to go back home, and while he knew that Freesia would not be able to put up a fight against him, he felt like it would hurt less if she did. Just after killing Freesia, Osric heard the megaphones turning on from each corner of the arena, and a firm voice about to announce him as victor of the 7th annual Hunger Games. But just before getting to his name, the transmission suddenly got cut. Confused, the boy threw his hands in the air, waiting for an explanation that never came. His eyes shed tears for Freesia, and for how the capital put him in such a position, and now they even dared to make a fool of him, making him think it was all for nothing. After waiting around for a few minutes, Osric decided to double-check the corpses scattered around the arena, wondering if any could still be alive, or if this was some kind of sick joke. He walked around the entire Colosseum, even checking Freesia's body once more, muttering sorry as he walked away. Vibia, still faking her death as she inconspicuously watched the boy from the corner of her eye, figured that now was the moment to act. When Osric got close enough, as he checked the body of the fallen boy from District 5, Vibia quickly got up and threw an axe directly at the back of his head. Osric fell to his knees, not even given the chance to find out who had made a fool out of him. As his body slumped forward, Vibia was then announced as the victor of the 7th annual Hunger Games. This event led to more cameras being installed in the arena the following year, as well as being one of the factors contributing for the introduction of health monitoring devices later on. Academy students, if Osric had been really announced victor, what do you think would have happened to him and Vibia?